You might be even missing some opportunities.
You spent 4 hours, doing this video on Premiere Pro, Final Cut, whatever it is. You just costed yourself a $2,000 commission loss.
Someone else's is already ahead of you.
The content creation trap is what basically gets them to the failing stage of YouTube.
You would need to spend some time to film the video. You literally have a library of videos that works for you 24/7.
The difference between a stressed agent and a market authority isn't talent, it's infrastructure.
Most realtors don't fail because they're bad on camera. They fail because they're accidentally started a second job they're never signed up for.
So if you spend 20 hours a week editing, you're most likely an editor, not an agent. You're fixing clips while your competition is fixing deals.
There is a specific 90-minute window every month that separates busy agents from a local monopoly.
We've built a system that allows you to effectively retire from the creation side of content. So you can focus only on the things that actually pays the bills, the closing. So Archie, quick question to you here. Why is filming one video at a time the fastest way to go broke as a realtor?
Well, the thing is, Joe, it takes really like 45 minutes to an hour just to get ready to film, right? Mm-hmm. If you will do this on a weekly basis and constantly, you're gonna just kill your time and your availability. And on top of that, you become not available for the clients when they giving you a call, they found you on YouTube, let's say, they're trying to send you a text message to schedule a viewing. And if you're, spending a big chunk of your time every week to do the filming, then you might be even missing some opportunities. So the right way and the best way, the most efficient way, in my opinion, is to schedule and block off the time on your calendar to do a mass and batch recording. What I mean by that is, instead of, again, spending a lot of time on setting up the camera, the lights, if you have all of that stuff, the actual filming, then packing it up, stopping, transferring the data, will suck a lot of your time with only so much of percentage of that time spent on the actual recording. If you will batch record and schedule the time in your calendar and treat it like an unnegotiable thing that you cannot skip it, right? Treat it like you have an actual appointment with your listing appointment with your client, right? You cannot, like, only if there's an emergency type of a situation, then you have to move it. But look at your schedule. That's why I usually suggest to my clients, find the least busiest day of the week, when statistically you don't have that, so you're not overwhelmed with the showings or contracts and things like that. Block off, let's say, 3 hours of your time, even maybe more, and record at least 2 videos during that time. You can realistically do even more, within a 4-hour time slot. Let's say you will do the setup testing for 30 minutes and we'll do, 15-20 minute video. Let's say it's going to take you 30 minutes to do one,
for
right?
Sure.
If you have 4 hours of your time, that's at least 6 to 7 videos that you can record. If you're doing 2 videos a week, that's 3 weeks worth of content, right? So if you'll have only one day blocked specifically for recording, and not even the entire day, guys. That's the way to do it correctly. But following up with that, another thing that people might be asking, other than, how to film the videos and find time, is how to find the time to research and get enough topics to cover in the time that you will usually drink a coffee. How you come up with the amount of those topics and valuable information to provide to your clients. Because let's say you've booked off 1 day out of a week to film, but then you'll be like, well, now what I should be talking about?
That's actually a very perfect question. Honestly, I'd like to say that your keyword here is research. A lot of realtors forget about that. They think that the creativity sense of things and fall into the content creation trap is what basically gets them to the failing stage of YouTube, right? Research, like you said, is so important. And again, there are people researching 24/7 around the clock, right? So utilizing Google keyword researchers, utilizing other third-party forums like TubeBuddy and so forth to see what people are researching in your area, take that topic and recreate that. So the 4 on your bucket list, or the bucket rule I recommend every realtor to start with, is definitely start with a neighborhood vlog tour. Start with a mistakes to avoid. I think that's really important. People need to know the cost of living is very important as well. And a maps tour. Those are like the fundamentals that anybody needs to see before moving to an area, because again, you're not just selling the house, you're selling the area. People need to know what's important. Your titles need to be tested. You need to provide a title that showcases why people should click on your video alongside with your thumbnails, right? So yeah, your titles and your thumbnails should be a curiosity gap type video in which people will be like, what is this 100K problem they're talking about that I could solve or avoid in the first place? Whether it's insurance, whether it's the cost breakdowns, should you rent or should you buy, right? These are very important of discussions. Around the area with a map tour. Is highways available? Is this a walking score like you talk about, right? Do you need a car? Do you need bus transportation? What's available? Answer the questions that you might think are very simple because you know them, but others require that knowledge, right?
Funny enough about the map tour videos, I always like, to this day, to me, it's like a mystery because those perform like in 90% of cases in the markets, they perform really well. I always was thinking, I was like, how come it's interesting enough for people to look at someone going over a Google map versus looking at like a neighborhood vlog or pros and cons video or even a property tour or something like this. But it is a fact, right? People love to watch those as you will digest, as you will break down the map tour video and talk about specific, you know, sub neighborhoods, streets, parks, schools, commute times. How long does it take you to go to the airport, hospital, plazas, dentists, you know, grocery stores, all of that stuff. But simple idea works again in 90% of the cases from my experience.
Exactly. Simplicity and consistency, the two common factors.
The reason I think it might be so well-performing topic is because both Google Maps and YouTube are owned by Google, right? So there might be some kind of a synergy between those algorithms and platforms, right? That when YouTube sees that, hey, he's promoting other product of mine, you know, Google Maps, let me push it a little bit more to people, right? So more impressions equals more clicks, more views in general. But yeah, statistically, this is what I'm seeing across multiple markets. If this makes you rethink your whole strategy, guys, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. We drop new strategies every week on our channel, so make sure to follow along not to miss out.
So we spoke about the first two main things, what type of content they need to create and what type of contents they shouldn't be creating, right? Or to falling into the trap of the creativity and so forth. Moving forward, if you were to educate all of the, you know, audience members who are agents, of course, right? Realtors, what is something you could do in your office that feels so easy for you to film and creates like a zero friction for you to start creating videos?
Good question. The thing is, when with the whole setup, I usually suggest to do a little of an office setup, so to speak, because if you'll have a place to film your videos, you are not going to be losing the time to set up the entire, you know, tripod, phone, the microphone, the lights, which correlates to the lost time, right? So while you're doing the whole setup, someone else is already ahead of you, right? So I usually say never put your tripod away. Do you need to go out and do some vlog videos, then get yourself two of those tripods. By the way, we'll have some of our equipment that we suggest to other agents listed in the description of the video if you're guys interested. But if you'll have this kind of an office setup, and again, I'm not saying nothing fancy, you know, you can buy a box light if needed for I think like 40-50 bucks on Amazon, you know, that you're gonna use for years. Your tripod, another like 40-50 bucks, you know, good set of mics, I want to say around $100. And all of those things, guys, is not something that you need to start with. You can start with $1,000 camera that is in your pocket, your phone, that has a really good latest technology with the stabilization, with the microphone, with the lenses, ultra wide lens, you know, zoom in, zoom outs, all of that kind of stuff. It's already available to you, right? All of those things that I mentioned are extra if you want to enhance your footage and the quality of your production down the road. But if you're gonna have this kind of a setup at your office, you're gonna again save the time on assembling all of that equipment, where you can just hit on record and literally get started. Another good tip I would suggest you guys is to use sticky notes. Have you ever given this suggestion to your clients?
I love that. Exactly. Because
when you will be using the scripts, it will make sound robotic and like without that soul, you know, of the information that you provide. So what I usually suggest is to, if you have some kind of data, statistics, you know, numbers and things like that, that it's hard for you to remember, just literally put them on a sticky note, put it next to the camera lens, you know, so it's literally next there, so you don't need to put away your eyes in somewhere other place, so to speak, and you can have that as a reminder to yourself. And as Joe, you mentioned in another video, when you're looking at the lens, imagine that this is your friend. You're talking to your friend. You're not talking to a camera. Just imagine that you're talking to your buddy or even a client, so to speak, right?
Of course. Yeah, no, great. Especially with the scripting, if you could do bullet points, that's even better. So that way you're not sitting here trying to read, like you said, any analytics. You could just have it in bullet points, straight to go. And I love how you refer to the friend, because that's so important to speak to one person instead of a whole audience base, which is going to make you nervous. It's going to make you forget the points and so forth, right?
Okay, Joe, let's talk about another big factor, the editing, right? Can you tell me and our viewers how is it important? You know, how can we learn that, or they can learn that, and any good tips on that? You know, get into that topic a little bit more, because it's a huge part of the entire YouTube journey, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So Archie, that's a great question, honestly, and it's almost like a trap question to these realtors, right? If you think about it. So let's put this in a math, you know, analogy type thing. So if your time is worth $500, for example, right, an hour, and you spend 4 hours, you know, doing this video on Premiere Pro, Final Cut, whatever it is, you just costed yourself a $2,000 commission loss.
And right? This is like the low end, bro.
This is the low end. We're just giving a simple analogy here. It's just an example, right? This is the low end. Here's the trap that you're stuck in. You're trying to be a realtor, you're trying to be a content creator, you're trying to be an editor, you're trying to be multiple shoes. And I understand realtors have a tough job in which they have to wear multiple hats throughout that role. But as we like to say, it's not your responsibility to be the content creator, the strategist, and then also edit the video on top of that. You're wasting time when that time can be directed towards your audience, your clients that need you, right? This is where Brick by Brick comes in. This is where a proven strategy, the editing, you know, the background of the company having not only the brand creation for the client, the agent themselves, the realtor, but to showcase that we can save you time, we can provide you the high quality edits, and we know what we're doing. Time after time, agent after agent, we've created specific brands around these agents, specific videos around these agents. So we know exactly what needs to be in the video, the call to actions, the hooks, all of that stuff. What I'm trying to say here, this isn't just some generic video editing company, right? We provide strategies and brands around the client, around their market, whether in your Iowa and you have a new IT company moving forward with AI servers, whether you're in Fort Worth and you have, let's say, NASA, for example, we can build around jobs, opportunities, what they're providing you. This is where we do the research. This is where we provide you with not only a brand, but a template of strategy of what must be done in your area to push you forward as the authority figure, the hyper-local authority figure in your area. I want to ask you, if an agent were to stick by our blueprints and what we just mentioned here, right? For the next 12 months, what's the outcome for them?
Easy answer on this one. You literally have a library of videos that works for you 24/7. You know, the videos that don't sleep, that don't quit, you don't need to pay them. The topics that you cover on your channel that people will be searching for, finding, clicking on, finding the answer that they're looking for, and reaching out to you. As simple as that, right? You're generating that library of digital assets that will work instead of you. So yes, you would need to spend some time to film the video, you know, to set up your office filming set, so to speak, to do a little bit of a research, to hit on record, transfer the footage, review the video. Yes, it is all extra time. If you're thinking about this, well, Archie, this is gonna take extra time. But again, is it worth it? In your opinion, to have a 24/7 digital employee, you know, as they're saying right now, AI agents, this is kind of in a way the agent who works for you, who will be answering those questions people have, that will make you the authority figure, the expert in your area, who will be answering those questions people search for and looking for and reaching out to you, because you would be the one answering those questions.
Yes. The difference between a stressed agent and a market authority isn't talent, it's infrastructure.
If you're ready to build yours, click the link below and build it brick by brick.
We handle the SEO, the editing, the research, and the coaching, and more. You just show up and film, we handle the rest.